Good day to all. This is Remya, Assistant Professor from Department of Artificial Intelligence and Machine Learning from RMD Engineering College. So last video we saw about the storage part of Hadoop framework, which you call it as Hadoop Distributed File System. And this video we'll be seeing about the computation part of the Hadoop framework, which you call it as Mapreduce. So Mapreduce architecture has the following steps. One is input splits, or you call it as splitting. Next is mapping. Next is shuffling or sorting. And last one is reducing. So this is actually the architecture of Mapreduce. So when I have a data set which I want to process, the data set will be broken down into pieces, which you call it as splitting. So the input is being splitted into some n number of splits, and each split will be given to a mapper. So depending upon the number of input splits, you will have those many number of mappers. Say for example, if I have 3 splits in my Mapreduce, I will have 3 mapper. If I have 5 splits, I will have 5 mapper, and so on. So now the initial phase is the collection of data set. My data set is now fed. Now the input data set is broken into pieces, and those you call it as the input split. So to the number of input split, I have generated my mapper. So the input split is given as the mapper input to the mapper, and mapper will produce an output which will be always a key value pair, and the key value pair is either shuffled or sorted or arranged, and then it will be given as an input to the reducer. Reducer will reduce the mapper output or the shuffled mapper output in a reduced way. So let's see one example. So this is actually the explanation about each phase. So splitting is just split off the original data set into some pieces. Next is the mapper. Mapper, I told you, it will generate a key value pair. So from a subset, from a data set, you're creating a subset of data set in the form of a key value pair. And shuffling, sorting, it is just the way by which you order or you arrange your mapper output, and the arranged or sorted mapper output will be given to the reducer phase to get a reduced output. Output will be of a summarized form. That we'll see in an example. So this is the word count problem using Hadoop Mapreduce. Here the example statement, the text I have taken here is, this is an apple. Apple is red in color. So my data set is, for an example, I have taken this one. Your data set will be actually high, and that will be broken into some n number of splits. So for my example, I have splitted my input into two splits. So since I have splitted into 2 splits, obviously I will have 2 mapper. So then a mapper output will be shuffled, sorted, and then it will be fed to the reducer, and reducer will produce the reduced output. Let's see how it happens. So my input is, this is an apple. Apple is red in color. Now I have splitted it into 2 input splits, where first input split holds, this is an apple, and second input hold, apple is red in color. So now I am giving it to the mapper. It means this is my input to the mapper. I told you earlier, mapper will generate subset of your original data set in the form of a key value pair. So if you could see, this is the key and this is the value. This takes the first word and tell its occurrence. So this, one time it had happened. This, one occurrence, is one occurrence, and one occurrence, apple, one occurrence. Or I can say it like, it is the first occurrence. Now again, from my second input split, I'm giving it to the second mapper. I'm trying to generate my subset in a key value pair. This is called as the mapper output. So apple 1 is 1, red 1, in 1, color 1. So now the mapper output is being shuffled and sorted. Okay, now or it is shuffled. I see you can do 2 things. Either you can shuffle it and sort it in alphabetical order. Suppose you are doing a shuffling and sorting. Apple comes first, then color comes next, then is comes third, and so on. Here they have done only shuffling. So shuffling in some order they have shuffled, and now I'm giving the shuffled output to a reducer. So reducer is, I told you, reducer will always try to summarize your output or reduce the output. So this one is, you can see twice it had happened. So it's 2 and 1, apple twice, red once, in once, and color once. See, this part could be either done in this way, or you can directly sort it here. So apple comes here one time, apple 1, then color 1, then in 1, then is 2, this one, and so on. In any way it could be. So now the final output is this one is 2 and 1 apple. So it is counting and telling you this has occurred one time in the data set, is twice, and once, apple twice, red once, in once, and color once. This is how the map reduce goes. So the steps in map reducing are splitting, mapping, shuffling and sorting, and reducing. So splitting is breaking your data set into some n numbers. Based on the number, you will set mapper. So mapper or mapping is the way by which you generate a subset in a key value pair. The key value pair is shuffled and sorted, and it is fed as input to the reducer. The reducer will reduce, or it will produce a summarized output, which you call this the reduced output, and that will be the final output. This is how the map reduce work. Thank you.